meeting,
Better take it
regular
down.
meeting of the county commissioners. Please note that Larry Allen is absent. Let's do the pledge and prayer. Mike.
Flag of the United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Heavenly Father, I ask that you please watch over us, these proceedings, and help us make wise decisions for Fremont County and the citizens of Fremont County. We ask that you please watch over our first responders, keep them safe and from harm's way. Military, we ask that you please watch over them, keep them from harm's way. We ask that you please help within this war that we're enduring, and that we can find peace in this world. In Jesus' holy name, amen.
Amen. All right. Have there been any changes to the agenda? I think we are going to cancel the executive session at 9:20.
Jim Anderson needed some time with the executive health committee.
Fit into the 9:20, okay? Okay, so Jim on health committee. Any other changes? Entertain a motion on the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, move to approve the agenda changes.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion's carried. We have the minutes.
Motion to accept the minutes, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion's carried. A stack of bills here.
Move for acceptance of bills.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion's carried. We have some Title 25.
Yes, I have that, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we pay claimant Fremont Counseling in the sum of $5,600. Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion's carried. Signature file.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a memorandum of understanding between the United States Department of Interior, Bureau of Land Management, Rock Springs Field Office, and Fremont County Board of Commissioners for preparation of the National Environmental Policy Act, NEPA, document for the Rock Springs Resource Management Plan Amendment, environmental assessment, and Nathan has okayed it.
Yeah, that's our cooperating agency status. Entertain a motion on that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, move to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion's carried.
And records of proceedings, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Priority mail.
Chairman, first up is, Mike Petron, National Museum, military vehicles, the canteen, permission, 24-hour liquor license for the base here. Isn't that within the, city limits of Du Bois or not?
No.
Okay. So he would like to request approval for a 24-hour liquor license permit. And he's staying from the town of Du Bois, but for this year's 4th of July celebration. The request date is July 4th, 2026. So doesn't he have to go through the process of the application as everybody else, or not?
He has to get permission from you to go to the town of Du Bois to fill out an application.
So motion for the National Military Museum of Vehicles, the canteen, granted permission to go to the city of Du Bois for request for 24-hour liquor license.
Second.
Any discussion?
Chairman, question is why through us? Why do we have to, if he's gonna go through Du Bois? I don't,
Mr. Chairman, he's your county permittee. So he is permitted through you, so he has to get permission, because he has a license to go to Du Bois. You have to prove that he would be able to do that.
Good.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion's carried.
Chairman, we have a letter from Lance Bishop, IA supervisor. This is letter of resignation. States with this letter, I wish to inform you that I am resigning as IA supervisor of Fremont County, Wyoming, with a tentative date effective May 29th, 2026. I regret any inconvenience that this may cause for the county. I will do my best to close out the activity issues before my departure.
Okay,
Motion to accept this letter of resignation from Lance Bishop.
Second.
do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Motion carries.
The chairman, next is the DEQ public notice. Enclosed copy of one public notice, which we have posted in the bulletin board for a period running from April 18th through May 26th. So it's just a notice. Yeah. Others are letter of concern, public comment of the ambulance service and the issue of the BOCE 5, and then monthly reports from the clerk of court and the clerk.
Okay, thank you. Public comment, we have any?
Yes, sir.
Ken, let's get the list here and see what order we're in. Sorry about that. And just one. 1, 2, 3, or 3. Okay, Patrick Neary from Du Bois.
2 minutes.
Good morning.
And yes, you wanna type that? So we have 2 minutes.
Yeah, there's not very much time.
All right.
Okay, so listen, I'm kind of reluctant to be here, but somebody asked me if I wanted to be on the library board. I didn't know anything about it, and I thought I'd go to a few meetings and see what it was all about, and I'm sorry I'm here. Because I know it's a sore subject, the library board, but nevertheless, I'm here to try to see my observations and give you my opinions of what I saw in the meetings that I attended. And there's a real dysfunction here with this library board, you know. I think it all started with obscene materials and stuff, and so I thought, well, what's the real problem here? And so I decided I'd look into it. We got 90,000 books in the library, and this is the last one there.
Well, just pass it around.
Oh, okay, very good.
Make it easy for you.
Okay, well, guys, here you go. 90,000 books. You've had 5 books over history challenged by 3 people. That's it. Statistically, it's not very significant. You know, it's 0.000006 kind of thing. But it's a problem if there's one book there that's in the wrong hands of a person and it's obscene and this kind of thing. So we understand that there's got to be some controls. And you know what? The library does a very good job of trying to control that stuff by saying that the parents are responsible for their children's use of the library. And there's quite a few policies, procedures, guidelines that tell the parents what they should be doing. But they want the library and the county commissioners to be responsible for their children. 100% compliance, which is just about impossible to do, right? So number one, there haven't been any challenges to any books for 2.5 years. And the last challenges were December 23 by 2 people who are now on the library board. So really, there hasn't been a lot of public input that would say that there's a problem here. So next subject, conflict of interest. You have a person who is a board of trustee director right there of the World Library Association, which is a for-profit LLC, 3 years old, that is an advocacy group attacking libraries around the country.
Gonna have to ask you to close her out there.
That's 2 minutes already?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Well,
You
see,
can come back.
I'd love to come back again, I guess, but there's a conflict of interest. They're going against their bylaws.
Is that all in here?
It is all in here.
So we can read
We
that.
can absorb it.
You've got people that are just out of control in this library board,
All right.
and it needs to get fixed.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Doug Thompson, do you have a public comment?
No,
No.
I'm on the agenda.
Yeah, well, you signed, somebody signed you up.
Me.
Okay. Alright. Well, we'll put,
Excuse me, Mr.
we've got you
Chairman.
on the agenda as soon as we're done with public
I'll
comment.
put my 2 minutes on my 15. I'll have 7.
Okay. Darla Newell,
I didn't get the gentleman's name that was.
Pat
The
Neary.
gentleman's name.
Pat Neary. Pat Neary.
Okay.
I'm
Thank you.
sorry, I've missed it.
His name was Pat Neary.
Yeah, we had that down. Okay. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
sorry, here,
Is my time starting yet?
When you start.
Okay,
go ahead.
I'm Darla Newell. And yeah, I've been here before. And I'm still very concerned about the library board. I'll just, after that gentleman, you guys are elected to represent your constituents. And the library board is not elected. I feel like they're your representation. And you did put 3 library board members that, for all the reasons, have created chaos and on the library board. The last board meeting, the library board meeting I went to was like 4 hours of excruciating pain, and you were there, you saw it. They are reinventing the wheel for a problem that does not exist, that you were just shown. It doesn't exist. We have a wonderful, wonderful director in Anita Markle. And there were accusations flying, threats going on at that meeting that were uncalled for. And if you guys want to bring it on, I mean, and I'm saying you guys because you put the board members on. We're going to have litigation here. They are trying to get Anita to either quit or they're going to say she's got insubordination and whatever the words were that they were throwing out in public. And Anita Markle and the ALA language that were dropped has so much public opinion or public support. And I'm just going to quote one of our board members after it was obvious that people wanted to keep the ALA. This is her quote: "I'm not going to be swayed by the majority unless the majority is correct, in my opinion," Mossberg said at the time. They're not representing the community. You guys, however, are elected, and I would just think about that. You're elected to represent the community.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. All right, without any further comment, we have, Jim, you want to come up and talk about your public health committee? Particularly health committee. Public health committee.
Morning.
Morning, nice color coding.
Thank you. Worked hard on it last night.
Yeah,
Well, it's that time, once again, to start talking about, renewals for our health plan. We had a meeting last week, and most of our, contractors and organizations that we contract with to, administer our plan and provide other services have given us very firm quotes for the year and not surprising, almost all of them have gone up. Thankfully, not as much as we sometimes anticipate. So what I'm here today to ask you is to consider several of our proposed vendors, not on tell you what their rates are and see if we are able to move forward based off of the recommendations of the Executive Health Committee. So thing that I handed out to you is a summary of the rates. It's based off of in 235 enrolled members, which is a little bit higher than what we average during the year. So these are the numbers that we use for budgeting purposes. And that's important because most of these rates are based off of how many enrollees you have on the plan. So for our third-party administrator, we are going to stick with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Wyoming. Their rates increased by 6% this year, which is kind of in line with where they have been for the last many years. For telemedicine, we are working with MD Live. Their rates stayed exactly the same from last year. For stop loss, we are staying with Voya. They gave us a very competitive quote, and actually they went from their initial quote to their most recent quote and actually reduced their rates for us. So we're looking at using Voya for that. It's an overall 14% increase. We were anticipating closer to a 16%. So we're in line with that. We do have a transplant rider on top of that. So if we ever have like an organ transplant or something like that on the plan, this insurance kicks in and covers the cost of those transplants. So it's good insurance for our insurance plan. And their rates increased 9%, which again is about typical with where they've been the last several years. That is Optum is the company that we use for that. And then we use a company called Work Partners and Nova Solutions. They do some sort of specialized case management stuff, and their rates actually went down 5%. Their rates are their proportion is not very high, so even though they went down, it didn't have a huge impact on the grand scheme of things. So overall, when we add all those up, looking at the total fixed costs that we see of our plan, we're about a 12% increase. Up from about $990,000 in the current year to $1.1 million. In addition to that, there was plan changes. The second page includes some plan changes that we have that we discussed either at the meeting or are required by the Affordable Care Act mandates. And so we're now covering cochlear implants and bone anchored hearing aids. And that will be, I mean, that's mandated by the federal government. So, and then we had some small changes on the dental side of things, either bringing it in line with kind of industry norms and or being better than the industry norms where we could. So there's a list of those down there with the changes that we have on those individual items. Any questions on rates or how they're developed? The rates are based off of different combinations of enrollees on our plan, and so I tried to explain with my algebraic notations what goes where.
Yeah, it looks like the looks like the lion's share of this is our stop loss.
Yeah.
What's just healthcare costs in general driving that?
The stop loss itself.
Yeah, the increases.
It's actually beyond just health insurance stuff, because these are major stop loss carriers for all sorts of things. So
Yeah,
that means that they're insuring properties, with major disasters, wildfires, things like that. And so it's a combination of things. The market, as our benefits consultants have told us, the market is tightening up because there are just stop loss carriers that just can't afford to be in business anymore. So there's fewer to choose from. When our benefits consultants put our stuff out to bid, they actually send it out to about, I would say, 15 to 20 stop loss carriers, and by far most of them don't even they decline to bid on this because they're not going to be competitive. The rates that they would give us would not be in the ballpark that we could afford to pay. So we end up with about maybe 6 or 7 bids that come in They take a look, a really deep dive into our previous year's claims, and our history of stop loss reimbursements and things like that. Try to predict what's in the future based off of what they see in the past, and present their claims. Voya has been consistently, we've used Voya for probably the last 6 years, I think. 5 years anyway. And they've been good to us and have been very competitive in all of their bids. So we've enjoyed working with them and want to continue that.
Okay, did you want to go through just cover any of these plan changes or?
I just, the cochlear implants, that's a required change that we have from the federal government. And then all the dental changes are just to keep things in line with industry norms. And
Okay. And you were looking for, looking for a motion.
Chairman. Motion to accept the recommendations of the Executive Health Committee. And authorize Vice Chairman Mike Jones to sign agreements with the following providers for the Fremont County Health Plan for fiscal year 2026 and 2027. Blue Cross Blue Shield Wyoming, third party administrator, MD Live, Telemedicine provider, Voya, stop loss carrier, Optimum transplant benefit provider, Work Partners, Canova Solutions, case management services.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Oh, real quick.
How much, does that increase the employees portion? Is there a, that pays into the system?
yeah, I haven't, Mr. Chairman, Christopher Bridges, I haven't done the rate calculations yet. Our health plan is in pretty good shape. We've got some good money in the back of it to support that. So I think that allows us a lot of flexibility to keep our increases to a minimum. So we're certainly not going to see a 12% increase.
I was gonna say that's pretty steep. But
Yeah, it is.
It's a big deal.
thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Jim.
I got the stuff that needs to be signed. We don't have the agreement yet for Blue Cross and Blue Shield. That's, I mean, usually they're sort of at the tail end of the year. But
Yeah. Okay. Cliff Thompson. No friend, no shoe.
Commissioners, Mr. Chairman. The subject of sage grouse management has been kind of low key lately. Some of the pieces, regulatory pieces have been put in place. One of the big ones that is coming up now is the governor's executive order. this would be the third rendition. Just a quick bit of history. In 2007, 2008, some, shut your economy down environmental groups tried to get the sage grouse listed as an endangered species, which if that had occurred, we wouldn't have an economy. The state, in response to that, started inventorying, drawing polygons on maps to figure out where the concern was coming from. Wyoming has the most grouse of any state, and we, Fremont County, are so lucky we have the most in the state. So it's kind of ground zero. And as these maps started coming out, I became concerned the effect on county economy. And I, you could say mistakenly, raised that concern to the state. And so we had the director of state lands and the director of the sage grouse at this meeting, and we expressed our concerns, and I ended up getting on the sage grouse implementation team representing counties. So we got that influence in that.
Doug, when did that, what year was that? When that was
When I
before the
went on-
first executive order
The
that you went on the.
first EO was 2015. I was on there probably 2 years before that because I helped draft some of that. So I've been on there, 14, 15 years.
Appreciate your service.
So anyway, we started off, we tried to handle the regulatory scenario in one piece. But because our economy is based on federally managed property, BLM Forest Service, and state and private property, we ended up playing in two sandboxes. Probably wasn't play, is probably not the proper word. Anyway, on the federal lands, the regulatory mechanism were provisions in a resource management plan or forest plan. Forest plan actually is just a rehash of the BLM resource plans. On that, in that area, that's been done twice. The last time was completed last year, and those are now working provisions in the management structure. And we were a cooperating agency in that process. I'm not going to say we got everything that we wanted, but I think we were fairly influential in that process. And all of the states and all of the counties in those states were in agreement. So they're in play, except two of these more extreme environmental groups that started in 2007 have litigated that. So I have no idea where that will go. Then on the other sandbox is state lands, state and private lands. Now, if our economic activities in Fremont County were pre-2008 or continuing activities, none of these provisions come into play. You could do whatever you want. However, on state lands and lands that require a state or federal permit, then the executive orders regulation comes into play. So that's where we are today, and that's kind of why I'm here. The third executive order has been drafted. It's the Sage Grouse implementation team, which I'm on, is reviewing it, has reviewed it, massaged it, and it's out for comment by the group. However, in May, that executive order will come out for public comment. And that kind of generates my
question on what does Fremont County, how do you want to participate in that? To what extent? Now, I can kind of box in some of your options. Right now, you, having been a commissioner and know what goes on in Fremont County, I've been representing, I currently represent ag. I started off county, and then when I wasn't a commissioner, I went over to ag. So I'm there basically looking out for everybody's interests, the economic interests of the state. But you know that Fremont County has a kind of a priority in my heart, so that's what I'm at. Let me also say, for counties, what I see is that mechanism could affect oil and gas, could affect mining, that's siting costs and production and things like that. For ag, continuing ag operations are not affected. In fact, they're determined beneficial. However, range improvements, which are fences and wells, could come under this regulatory mechanism. County roads, and we already had a little run-in with Rock Springs on that, when they said we couldn't fix a road that was washed out. We had to do it during the stipulated times, and I think I was sitting there and I told them, no way, no how, we're fixing the road. And so Pendleton got orders to fix the road. There is a provision in there that emergency repairs are de minimis, that you can do them anytime. Public health and safety.
So Sigit has reviewed the draft.
We have, okay, yes, we have in pieces.
Okay,
And that we had a meeting 2 weeks ago
okay,
where we looked at, I'm gonna say an almost finished draft.
okay.
There are two pieces of the adaptive management, and that's how you handle emergencies that come up. It is still
And so
squishy.
public comment won't come up till May?
May.
May, just the month of May, or do you have dates or?
I don't have
Okay.
dates now.
And so at that point, we would be able to enter into the
Yes.
conversation.
Yeah, the
Right.
county and the public could do that. Subdivisions could be affected, in fact, have been in this county, municipal expansions and new road construction. So for counties, that's what I see as potential areas of concern. In looking at the draft, couple of observations. Ag interest, it's funny, the people who wanted to shut ag down tried to say, well, we gotta do this for grouse, we gotta do this for grouse. Well, if you look at the grazing regulations, there's a whole component of monitoring and regulation for all activities, wildlife activities. So they were like, they want to double up the regulation. Well, we have this for wildlife, but we got to do this for sage grouse. Well, what you would do here is the same here. So we were able to roll some of this double jeopardy back. The one area I'm a little concerned about is the feral horses. They're way overpopulated. They're trying to work on that. And they say, well, we're going to monitor, we're going to address, we're going to support, we're going to blah, blah, blah. I don't think there's enough teeth in there. I don't think we can do it through the executive order. It's going to have to be a concerted effort to get them to remove their pot license back.
Sorry.
Mr. Jones.
So, the horses. So there was a whole effort in there. I thought our concerns were less about what the final product was coming around and I don't know if it was an amendment or whatever it was. I know Mike and I talked about it way back, but wasn't there a resolution on that or?
Yeah, there was a resolution. We're going to monitor them, and if there's a problem, we're going to look at it.
Okay, so there's no addressing no significant acknowledgement that there is a problem.
Nothing was done, just Joe.
Okay,
So that's why it's area of concern.
okay,
And I don't have the answer on that.
okay.
I do have the answer. They don't want it. The other thing is that I've tried to valid existing rights. That's the foundation of our county. That is part of the mechanism, federal and state. And I've made sure that is maintained in there. So, I guess the question is, how do you want to proceed? Now, I don't think we're going to see a big shift one way or the other. There are some things that can make these more workable. And I haven't presented my comments. I wanted to visit with you first. And then we'll see what comes out. So, Mr. Chairman, I'll drop the ball in your lap.
So I think that what would help us, Doug, is if you did put those comments together, you have been our liaison between that conversation and as we went through the Greater Sage Grouse conversation. It would be interesting if you could send those to us. And we could, when the public comment comes up, we can consider what kind of county position we want to take and comment. I know when that was, I can't even remember. I know I made comments years ago when the first one came out. I had some concerns about that, but that would help us if you're okay to do that.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I can tell you right now, my comments will be fairly brief because I've been involved in these various subcommittees.
Right.
The one thing we do need to make sure we have for roads, county roads was omitted in the executive order. Not totally, but it needs to be in the body of the executive order, and I will put that comment in. The other is agriculture, the benefits of grazing is backed up scientifically. I will be commenting that needs to be part of the whereases rather than in an appendix somewhere. So I can tell you right now, those are the things. And then there's wording shifts that are kind of, how do we say this? Instead of 100 words, how can we say it in like 20 words or something like that? Those will be my three, just for your information right now.
Sure. So will Sigit publish anything or recommendations to the governors, and will those be public?
As soon as Sigit gives its comments back into the system, a modified executive order will come to the public.
Okay, so he'll take that into consideration.
Yeah, he will consider those.
Okay,
And
which is why it was implemented in the first place,
Right.
right?
so I guess what I might point you toward is when that finalized draft comes out, I would review it and then appear again before you and say, I think we got everything covered, or let's make this comment. Unless you want to just say, we have bigger problems with budgets. I know you're going into budgeteering, so you'll be modestly busy. And then you have a couple of boards that kind of.
This year's a
some
snooze,
tension.
Doug. It's just easy. I mean, this is the easiest time we've ever had as a commission. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. My cynical humor.
Mr. Chairman, can I get a second opinion?
Yeah, you certainly can. No, I think,
Remember, I sat there for 16 years.
yes, I know. That's why I was teasing you. I think, if you can flag us that, that final draft is there. I think we have in the past, I think we'd want to take a position, so I think we'd want to, and I can kind of summarize that for the commission, and we can say, hey, let's enter some comments into the comment period. So very much do we want to be a part of it. Yeah.
Mr. Treasurer.
Doug, have you seen this memorandum of understanding between
United States Department of the Interior, Bureau of Land Management's Rock Springs Field Office and Fremont County Board of Commissioners for the preparation of the National Environmental Protection or Policy Act and the document of Rock Springs Resource Management Plan Amendment assessment. Have you seen that?
I have not.
Okay.
I kind of have an inkling of what it is.
It's their MOU of the it's our agency or what's that,
Yeah.
sorry, I can't get the word.
I was gonna ask Doug this past it, but
Well, we already passed it.
there is so much in this. I mean, we really appreciate what you do anyway, of course. But I read this stuff and it's like, the BL acknowledges that the cooperating have judicial, by law, special expertise applicable to the Rock Springs RMP amended EA efforts, DOI, and EPA implementing regulations.
Commissioner,
43 CF.
Commissioner, we
How
passed
are
that.
we gonna understand all?
I understand that, but we've already passed it.
I know,
Okay.
and that's what I'm saying. Why does this Rock Springs not come and work with us and talk to us?
This is them working with us, Commissioner. We're a cooperating agency.
I know,
That's our agreement so that we're at the table.
right.
Yeah.
But we need them to come and explain some of this stuff that they're.
I'll explain it to you.
Okay,
I think you need to do that offline.
okay, but I'm
Thanks.
just saying, this is an awful lot of confusion. That's what they're wanting, and then we agree to it.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Thank you, Doug, for all your work. And I have great faith in you. You're good at wordsmithing what we need to say. And the only thing that you probably threw a red flag at me was our roads. Because we know continuously they have tried to sneak in little things that shuts the public down using our lands. So that kind of is a sneaky little thing that has been used prior to all these years. It's just little things like that. So in your analysis and what we need to finalize for the governor, I do believe that the road issue is very important. They can't just say, no, you can't do that. That's important. There's always that sneak up effect that they like to play in these analysis of like with just sage-grouse and stuff. But yeah, so I have great faith in you to put that together.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner, the best way to address that is know the rules better than they do.
Mhm.
Because I will guarantee that they will put their little foot over the line
Mhm.
if possible. And county roads is pretty significant for
Mhm.
us for tourism, recreation.
Mhm.
So that's, in fact, if you look at the executive order, we have a specific, Pennington, when Dave Pennington was, he has a specific citation in there on county roads. So yes, Fremont County is represented in past executive orders and will be in future. But just know what the rules are better, because sometimes agencies take
Oh, yeah.
advantage. So I appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna give this to Doug.
Yeah, that's fine. All right,
Mr. Chairman.
any other
Stay
discussion? Yeah, thanks, Doug. Appreciate you coming in, keeping us informed and.
By the way, I didn't burn up all the budget. I don't know if I've done.
Yeah, you didn't say anything about the library.
You want me to?
No.
I didn't think so. If I do, my name will be on that list back there.
That's right. Thanks for coming in.
Okay,
Appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Tara Berg and Schneider Geospatial.
Come on, Ange. Would keep me on the straight and narrow.
Don't hide.
I'm still gonna sit.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for getting us on the agenda. We talked a little bit last week, I invited you to share with you some of my thoughts and my future goals of the GIS. I have with us today Ryan, who is he has a lot of experience in GIS, but he works with Schneider Geospatial. He's going to show you some things that it can do. We talked a little bit about that last week, but before we get there, I just want to put a plug in that he has been very easy to deal with. He's dealt with me, so you all should understand that he's done that well. Changes I've asked for, things I've asked for, it's not a problem. This is a very broad company, or they do a lot of work in other counties, I believe, and he can clean this up for me, Ryan. 32% of the country is covered by Schneider. And yep,
Can you hear me
go
okay?
ahead.
Yeah, it's about 1,200, 1,200, I like to say organizations across the country. Everything, we have a few cities and random regional governments as well.
Work very well with all of our other software programs. They're preferred partners with those. So a transition would be seamless and more beneficial for Fremont County going forward with the work with the camera system that we use, as well as the aerial photography through Eagle View, those kinds of things. 3 counties, and I won't name them because I don't know where they're at in their contractual part of this. But 3 counties have gone to Schneider in Wyoming already. I have reviewed the contract with Nathan. There was a couple concerns. The one was addressed immediately and the one wasn't addressed immediately because my follow through wasn't as quick as it should have been, but I think we got that worked out this morning. So I'm getting the nod from our county attorney. This would be a change from the current map server program that we have. And right now what I'd like to do is turn it over to Ryan to show you some things. When I had the meeting here, we had, I don't know, about 30 people. We had the roads department, EMS, the sheriff's department was here. Julie and Margie were here. One of the things that Ryan has helped with already, oh yes, Commissioner Jones was here, sorry. One of the things that they jumped on already that is kind of unique in Fremont County is the fact that when election season is upon us, we have our ballots loaded so people can click on their property and see their ballots. They didn't have that. I think they had it in a couple other jurisdictions, but already between Margie and Ryan got her in touch with the gentleman that needs to be, should we get the okay to move forward with this, we will be ready on July 1st to have those ballots put on the website. So I think that shows right there their willingness to get things done, get it moving. And that was 2 weeks ago. So Ryan, with that, I'll turn it over to you and see if we have any questions at the end.
Okay. I did, whoever the Zoom czar is, I tried to hit share and it says it's disabled.
Working on it.
Okay. Let me try now. It says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
I don't envy her this job.
And if you need, oh, I can see myself on the big screen there. It's always creepy.
There you go.
If we can't do that, I can always, oh wait, here we go. We got her.
Good job, Anna.
Let's see. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. What do you see? Do you see PowerPoint?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a little small.
Okay, here, let's see.
Turn around.
How's that look?
Mike, better. You're on camera.
Okay.
There
Can you
you
guys
go.
see can you see it as a full screen?
Not as a whole screen yet,
Better.
but it's good.
Okay. I'll do my best to I can't see it because I see it on my full screen. So All right. Do you see my mugshot here with my beautiful family? I know it's a little sappy, but it always works.
Yep, we see you.
All right. So that's me. I'm a real human. I have been to Fremont County before. I visited, what was it, about a month ago, Tara?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, welcome everyone. Um, as the slide says, my name is Ryan Smith, and today, really, what we're going to be focusing on is I did give a presentation to Tara and half of the county that attended that day, and I'm just going to give a little bit more of an executive summary of what I presented during that time. I know we have about 30 minutes, but I don't expect my presentation should only take 5 to 10 minutes with a few slides, highlights, and then we can just kind of open it up for questions. And I'll let Tara kind of help her close or interpret some of those questions for me. Does that sound good with everyone?
Yes.
All right, great. Okay, just briefly a little bit about us before I get into the whole the why we're here. Um, so what I am presenting today is something called Beacon. It's a website that we do offer. It's a web portal. But at Schneider, we have been around for a while. Me personally, I've been with Schneider for about 15 years. I'm out of Des Moines, Iowa, and but I'm also a GIS guy by trade. Prior to this job as a salesman, I was a GIS tech, GIS analyst before I moved to the account rep side. But what I've liked about Schneider, though, and why I've always just it's the constant innovation and staying on course with staying with local government. We've never tried to divert really outside of that. You know, there's always a few lower random odd things, but our core customer has always been local government, usually more at the county level, but also at the municipality level as well. And within that, the three main things that we've always focused on are parcel management, permitting and licensing, which I'm sure you've heard a little bit more about just in the last 5 or 6 years has been a lot more popular, at least on the online side of things. Even though, oh, as soon as I said that, Tara, I know I wasn't supposed to use the word permit in the state of Wyoming. I just remembered that. But then also to asset management as well. So think like highway departments, sign inventory, those types of things as well. All right. So a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today is the Beacon web portal, and really what what it is at its core. It's a way to aggregate all these different data silos, these different data locations, and what Beacon does is it puts it all into one spot. And then once it puts it into one spot, so we kind of sit on top of all these different platforms that are at the county. So think RealWare, your CAMA, your tax statements. Some of my conversations with Margie related to the sample ballots, and then also all of your GIS as well, your parcels and property photos and everything. And we do that really through it's 4 simple steps, right? Search, report, map, and then also looking at the file. And that's what I'll take you through today. So before we get into that, though, just really quick, this is just a quick screenshot just showing all the items that you're going to get with the package that Tara and the team chose. We do have 3 different packages. There's also an essentials and a professional. But after a lot of discussion, we decided it was best just to we'll start with the basic package and just kind of build off of that. So you're going to get a lot of things with that. And then there's also the add-on related to Eagle View, and I'll show a screenshot of what that looks like. All right, so some of the screenshots related to what Beacon can provide for you. Everything from you're going to have the ability to do different types of online forms, whether that be a change of address form, any type of exemptions, just to make it a little bit more fluid, a little simpler for people to apply, but not only to apply, just for the office to be able to take those in and manage those different documents. We've seen it been used for a lot of different things. Like over here, you see in Florida, if there's like a big hurricane, we'll throw up a quick smart form for the users. And so instead of citizens bombarding the office with all these phone calls, they can go onto the site, fill out a simple form, include a few photos, and then that way the county can make sure that they respond to everyone that has applied and make sure that they don't miss anyone. There's also the comparable search function as well within Beacon. That's where you're able to search by different types of attributes. If I'm looking for houses that are built in 1960 with this much square footage, I'm able to look up just some of those different comparables. And then also too, once you're generating those results, that's where the map comes in. I can get more of that visual. I can see where these comps are located. Sales that have happened in the last month. Where are they? And then not only that, you see it accompanied with all those photos. Another thing too, you'll see on the left-hand side is you'll just see all of these different types of GIS layers, mapping layers. We do not limit the number of mapping layers. It's really up to you, the county, what you want to be publicly viewable and then also internally viewable as well. And then from that, you can generate different types of lists, whether it be Excel sheets, mailing labels, you name it. So from all these different types of lists that are generated or different types of comps and search criteria, you can actually generate these lists. So this is really nice for like your local realtors, appraisers, maybe some of those common people that are calling in every day asking for these one-offs. They can now go to the website, do this on their own time. And then also that saves the county office time too, because some of your power users are just going to go straight to this website. And there's also something called the comp report generator as well. There's more just another view of kind of more of the same of showing some of that comparables. And like I said, we're not just working with one office, the assessor. Yes, primarily that's who we start with. But we really have evolved into, it's kind of been a nickname of where we're kind of that online courthouse type feeling. Everything from different types of maybe road inventory projects. It really just kind of depends on the GIS team and what it's a good way for them to actually help share some of the work that they're doing. We even have something, with like trash routes. Believe it or not, a lot of that is reactive. A lot of it's just like, hey, we keep getting questions about what day is my trash route. And in this case here, the GIS person was able to spin up, a map with 5 different colors on a map. That way people can go to the map and then they can see what day their trash route is. Commissioners, hopefully you're all paying attention. This is very popular with commissioners. We have something called property tax dollars. It was an idea that was actually, it came up with from supervisors and county commissioners, which is they wanted a better way to display where those taxes are going. So we came up with this module a few years ago to where it'll actually break down those taxes and also provides a nice pie chart. Here's an example here, actually in Goshen. So this is something you can go to as a public person. You can just go type in the address, and then if you go to this tax distribution button, you'll see that breakdown there. I really like this just for transparency. And then also too, we have something called a tax estimator. So here's the original assessed value on this property. Then when I type in a new value, you see those estimated taxes reflected. So a lot of those what if scenarios, what if I do this? What if my value goes up to this? What would my expected taxes be, in the future, 2 to 3 years down the road? And really all this is just a simple calculator in the background, but it's more just trying to help out with some of those common questions that the offices might get. There's ways to measure on the map itself. Everything from doing multiple measurements in those enclosed measurements to where it'll provide acres. And then this is for you, Tara. I threw this back in this morning. I like to show that, and we also do a lot of specialty mapping. This is always a big hit. And it's just more just to show, this is something I even show at like Thanksgiving to my parents or, relatives, is what GIS is. GIS, remember, is always just its location with information. And some counties have fully embraced that with us. In this case here, Grundy County, as an example, they had a barn quilt club, and you can see what a barn quilt is. And they just needed a place to display that on a public forum. And so they just provided us an Excel sheet with some photos, and we were able to upload this onto the Beacon website. I did overhear someone talking about tourism a little bit before I came on. That would be another example. We've seen different types of tourism used, whether it be campground locations, RV parks, just anything, especially in Wyoming, anything tourist related that would be publicly available. Just, everything from, I don't know, just different types of park areas or public lands versus private lands, being able to have all that information there at your fingertips. Another thing too, on the specialty mapping side, is we do see a lot of like hunting related groups will use Beacon a lot. At least in the Midwest, when they're hunting deer, they can see those property lines exactly where they are, and they also know who that owner is. A thing I forgot to point out in the beginning is that our Beacon website updates on a daily basis. So anytime Tara and her team or any other groups update anything in their system, our program on a nightly basis pulls that information. This is very important for transparency. So, if a new homeowner, they want to see that their name is up on that property, as soon as possible, as soon as the county processes it. And with Beacon, we pull that information nightly. I really want to stress the polling versus, we are not requiring the county to push any information. We have a program that goes in and detects those changes and pulls that on a nightly basis. Here's another example here too of maybe for the highway department. There's a county in Indiana that displays all their culverts and bridges. But not only is it just that point on a map, that point on the map has information associated with it. So just by clicking on this point, I have all this information here on this report. I also have the photos associated with it, and even a linked PDF. So think about the Margie discussion with the sample ballots. It's kind of that same concept a little bit, where it's like I'm identifying an area, there's an associated PDF related to that area, and I'm able to access that information there. And that kind of goes into a little bit more of that, what we call document access internally. So any type of information that has a document that has a unique identifier, whether it be a point, a polygon, an area, a shape, we can actually display those documents on the Beacon website. There's just a little bit more of the same there. And then also too, on the back end, you have a lot of administration tools, everything from showing the ROI, where it'll actually show the number of users that are going to the site. This is nice for commissioners so they can see that activity. Also too, you can set up roles and passwords so that only certain departments can maybe see certain different types of mapping layers. And also a lot of QC and QA tools where it'll actually compare the different databases against each other and identify some of those outliers. And then last but not least, just more of that integration. I wanted to bring this one up specifically. We've been a big partner of EagleView for a long time, and I know EagleView flies the entire state of Wyoming. So this is one of the integrations that you would have as well. And so what this is, we're able to pull that EagleView imagery, but also too, there's a button where you can click on it, and it'll actually display that oblique imagery as well. And Tara, this slide's for you. So here's the 4 current counties that are under that have signed with us. I actually had a call with Campbell County about 10 minutes before I went on today. So we're getting their site set up as we speak. So, and then I threw up this slide really quick, but they should have that in front of them. All right. I'm going to unshare, I think.
So Ryan, one of the things thank
Yep.
you for that. That was a good job of summarizing a whole lot of stuff in a few minutes. One of the things that the reason that he laughed about the quilt, one of the things that EagleView and Schneider partnership on or with their integration is a lot of emergency management functions. So when you look at fires, in the unfortunate event that we have a fire in Dubois on the mountain, they were looking to evacuate all those people last year. One punch of a button, Andy did a great job of getting information to Milan, But one punch of a button here, should those houses burn, with one punch of a button, we take through these guys in Eagle View, we take it and we punch a button and it tells us the value of the house that was there. And now
Yep.
you can see on Eagle View, we'll go fly it within so many hours. That's in the contract. They will fly that, get a new data set, and we see what house was there and what one's gone. It kicks a value out for FEMA. Mylan was here. He asked some great questions. He's got some evacuation maps built. They're working on those, but that was one thing that I was impressed with, was their ability to make that stuff happen for us in a time frame that is useful to you guys when you're working with federal government and us. I mean, with our local taxpayers. That was something that was important to me. That, like I said, we just briefly touched on the culvert stuff, but I know Billy was here the day it was presented. Jill was here for this one. And she's got a database built that we can get to these guys. You can inventory your culverts. Now, keep in mind, anytime you don't want something to be public, you want to build a layer for the commissioners, it doesn't have to be public. That's the administration part of this. You could have your own layers to look at here instead of looking at spreadsheets or things like that. So this program is something that I believe would be very important, not only for my office, for valuing, for the valuation components that we've looked at, the ability to help set those values and inventory properties is stellar. I mean, it's just there. Angie's reviewed all of that. But I just see this as a holistic part for the county rather than just a map server program that functions. It's good, don't get me wrong. Map server's good and it's used a lot. But I think this is just one step in a future direction that we need to be thinking of with a company that's probably got a lot of ideas for us already. Hey, have you thought about this? What have you thought about this? I just see a lot of benefit. I see a lot of benefit in the number of employees they have, the experience they have, and the ability to get something done when we ask. We gave some maps to our the evacuation maps to our current programmer, and that was a month ago, and we still don't have those evacuation maps up. So as you can see, I mean, Margie talked to him. I don't know if Margie has anything she'd like to add through this, or Angie. I think we've covered most of it, but it's also been very easy to work with. Called Ryan when he was traveling. He sat in a coffee shop in the middle of nowhere with bad service and tried to walk us through some stuff one day. That was my fault. I misinterpreted what the meeting was about, but he rolled with it. He's been there for questions. We talked while you were in the Dallas airport about this very contract, and we were able to negotiate what you're looking at, which I think is a very fair implementation of the one-time setup costs. There's some significant decreases there, some significant consideration given. And then the annual hosting services projected out 3 years for you. I just think for the money, I would like to pursue this. We're looking at a July 1st date to move to a new company. So I'd really like to know your thoughts today. Nathan's I'm gonna ask one more time if he's okay with the contract.
The only thing I want to point out, Tara, if you can hear me,
Yes.
is that contract, just for the board, is dated July 1st. We would be able to start on the project as soon as it is signed, but the county would not be invoiced until July 1st.
So,
And then, gonna open that up for questions, commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so the first, for the major layout is how much is that, Tara?
so to take everything we have now and get it to them with the layers that I would like starting out in conversion in that is $6,650. That's a one-time setup fee. That's on page 2. Yep. And then the yearly maintenance, the annual hosting and maintenance is going to be for the first year for 2027, $13,740.
Terry, you can thank the other 3 Wyoming counties to negotiate that setup cost. I learned very quickly that you all talk to each other. So I've jokingly called it the Wyoming setup cost.
Yes, we learned that at our meeting very quickly.
Okay, other questions? No. Any other questions, Commissioner?
Chairman.
Yeah.
Um, I think this is very, not a question, just proactive for us to embark upon, because we need to move this to the next phase, a higher bar than what we've been dealing with. Seems like we have failure coming at us left and right, and that was not what we need. I mean, it was not good. So, I look at this as a good move for the county.
Any other comments, questions? I have a few.
Sure.
I'd like to hear more, and not necessarily today, well, not today, but I'd like to hear more. This gives us a lot more potential capability. And I don't believe that we have always been the greatest about absorbing new technology or capability and organizing around it. We just keep it on to the existing resources. And I have a lot of questions in terms of how much overhead it takes for the county. Okay, I understand it pulls our data, but pulling data without any oversight can be a little bit dangerous. It's dependent on how you put that information into the system, and then the overall, who makes decisions about what goes up and how does that happen? Do we have a committee formed around it? Do we have right now we have a GIS person, but this is a little bit larger than that, and it's going to take some more conversation. I believe we need to organize around this to understand the dynamics of the system and whether we want to embrace all the aspects of it. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity, but we've talked about putting culverts and those kinds of things on layers, and some of that happens invisible to us. So I just think it raises a ton of questions for me. So we have built-in administration tools. How much training is required? Who's going to do it? Basically, who's going to administer that? I just think there's a lot of questions around it. I'm okay with moving down the path because I think if you just take it as we're using this base function and now we're more integrated with Eagle View, I think that is enough from my perspective. But the overall opportunity that this gives us as a county and how much personnel investment and time and effort and money to organize around it and fully utilize it, I think that's a bigger conversation. So, and I think we've chatted about that. I just see that coming. I will make sure the other commissioners understand that with that capability comes some opportunity, but also could require some different reorganization around it. So,
Mr. Chairman, that's a great point, and you and I have visited a lot. To answer one of those basic questions, who controls what goes to Schneider? That would be the assessor's office through Andy. We pull a data set and we put it on a server. And then Schneider comes in and takes that. We determine what they get through all of our firewalls. And
well, that doesn't, you talked about some of Jim's information, the financial information and property information, and that's much broader than just the assessor. So,
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Okay,
It would run
so-
through the GIS department.
I understand, but who, again, I mean, Jim's got information flowing through the assessor's department. He's gonna want some I would think, I don't put words in your mouth, Jim, but I would think you guys would want to have some sort of conversation around what gets pulled.
So what
Yes?
yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay.
And what I'm hearing from you is you're okay with this idea so far. We just need a better co-op within the courthouse
Yeah.
of functionality of how that data is gonna get to where Schneider grabs it.
And so that the public can't see it. And so to me, that's a broader conversation and a regular conversation.
Agreed.
That happens throughout the year. And I would think at least Jim and Julie would be involved in that. Yes? No?
Mr. Chairman, Tara and I for sure have talked about revising or restarting the GIS committee. What I did hear, which was really nice through the whole process of all the things we heard,
Yeah.
is that Andy is capable on this end to do what we need to do. So that's what I did hear. So I think we're covered for a while here. I mean, I appreciate Tara taking this on. I thought about that budget being more countywide budget, like under your 1690 accounts, so that she doesn't have to have the burden of thinking that that's what that costs the assessor to run her
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've talked about the new GIS committee coming up because we have not had it for a while and we do think it's necessary.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it's gonna be a regular conversation because they'll come to this table, the public will come to this table and say, well, you know, what's going on here? Or if there's something that got published that shouldn't have got published or whatever it is. I just think that several elected and the commissioners should be tied into that conversation and on a more regular basis.
I do want to stress, if you don't mind me commenting, everything on the Beacon site is publicly available data that people can walk into the courthouses. I want to make sure and get that distinction out there. So everything that we display publicly is publicly available if they walk into the courthouse.
So let me ask a question about that. So you pulled a bunch of public information and you put it into a graphic, like you did with that financial information or whatever that was. I can't remember the slide.
That was tax information.
So tax information.
Mhm.
You know as well as I do, if that's automatically generated, I would want some level of control to say, yeah, that looks good. You know what I mean? Rather than it just, yep, pull the data, push this graph out, and who knows, you know, you know how that is.
Mr. Chairman, and I can assure you that will come. It already does. The information that Jim has between
Right.
Jim and Angie,
I'm talking about the conversion to a chart.
yes.
Okay, Jim's not gonna make the chart. The system's gonna create the chart. Jim should look at it.
Absolutely.
No, am I?
Yes,
Okay, right.
but we also have mill levies on our side. That's where that chart came from
Okay.
in Goshen County, was we have to enter the
Okay.
mill levies on our side, and it was generated through the data that we sent.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, those are great questions, and I think they're coming from you and I's long-standing conversation of what's possible and available out there, and the caution that comes with what do we want to be private that you guys could pull up as a commissioner versus what does the public see? We already deal with that with the sales data
Yeah.
and things like that. Those are great questions and very fair questions, and somewhere my mind has gone. But that's why if you choose a company like this, they understand that. They've worked with enough data to say, you know, this is what you're giving us. Is this what you want before they push it out? So
Okay, so I think we're good. Yes, Commissioner?
Do we have to come up with that lump sum, or is that just every year that we come up with this payment?
So, Mr. Chairman, the first year is the only year you will be charged the $6,650. The 13,000 will be for the first year in addition to the 6,000. But the next year in 2027 for 2028, it will be 14,427. You will not have 6,000 associated.
So this is a year to year, but for a 5-year plan, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, we're gonna stay on track, on schedule. Anything else, Darren?
Mr. Chairman.
Ryan, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Action.
I'll get back with you, Ryan.
Okay.
Thank you. We're gonna take a
Thanks a lot.
10-minute break and come back at 10:30.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
understand it, you need to get going. Tara needs to get going with where we're gonna sign this new contract or what. And so what that means financially, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. What that means is it will be an increase over
Terrace scan,
Terrascan.
Terra GIS.
And so it'll be an increase annually of $7,335. So new contract goes to $13,740 per year. And to get set up with them, it's gonna be $6,650, which will be in next year's budget. And so we need to entertain a motion whether we want to go forward with Schneider and allow her, Schneider Geospatial, allow her to move this direction. So she needs to be able to get a contract signed. Anybody want to make a motion? And then we can discuss if we have some more questions.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead.
Motion to approve this movement of
Schneider Geospatial.
Snyder for the new contract.
Second, any discussion?
Sure. My question I asked if it's portability in a sense of on for the future, since it's a $7,000 increase. What does that mean to your budget?
So, Mr. Chairman, right now I'm paying the $6,640 to Terra GIS and not getting everything completed. What I will do is I'll look back through my budget and see if there's places that this can offset. The other thing that I tried to do last year with Terra GIS was implement some charges to people who use it a lot. There is a way, we didn't go into it today, but there is a way on Schneider for people to build their layers or for us to maybe charge a fee for those who use it a lot. Now, I've struggled with this, Commissioner, because if you have somebody who uses it once in a while, grandpa's using it to replant his field or whatever, do you really want to charge them a fee every time they go on? I will tell you, there's counties that are doing that. Not necessarily with the GIS world, but I've tried to look at deeds for these long-term homeowners and I have to pay a fee. And I have paid that fee out of my own pocket a couple times so I can help these people get their long-term homeowners. But Mr. Chairman, I haven't delved completely into my budget. I know I am down one staff member that I haven't replaced. I'm not going to ask to replace that. There are some other things I can look at as far as the way we are running our office. Hopefully our fuel budget, if we can get all of this GIS streamlined, our fuel budget, not replacing that position is a possibility. Right now, off the top of my head, I don't know where I can cut that, but I will certainly give it everything I've got.
Chairman, couldn't we divide, since you said, I remember you saying other agencies or other departments could use part of this in a sense of not just Schneider, but the whole thing. Couldn't there be a division of other departments helping out?
Mr. Chairman, I think so. When we start looking at the emergency management part, the roads part, if we can get those layers up and running for those folks, I think it would be a huge asset to the county. And that's kind of what Julie was saying was, do we look at this GIS as just the assessor's office or a functionality of the whole county? And I do believe that's where Commissioner Jones was going through his discussions with me over the year. We've got to have a functioning GIS. If you go to Laramie County, everybody's in the GIS. You've got the GIS department, and then you've got the components, the Esri, the Eagle View, and Schneider per se. And everybody is using those to their capabilities. And yes, I believe each person could pay a portion of that contractual amount. That would help me.
Chairman, in my opposed agreement to this, then I would ask that if we do agree to this, then we propose to the departments to do that, because then if we are all using it, we all need to participate in the payment of it. And so I think that's the way we should go.
Mr. Chairman, thank you for that.
some sort of a
That's great.
surcharge.
Mr.
We
Chairman,
consider
Mr. Chairman, I still would throw out there the 1690 account. As the budgeting person here, it is really hard to make sure that we make sure all of these people get that. So Tara leaves, I leave, somebody leaves. They don't know that they have a portion of that. If we could just do like a 1690 account, Eagle View is gonna be way bigger discussion. That would be countywide as well, and maybe outside entities where you could maybe getting some revenue in or whatever for those. So we've got a budgeting process that's coming up, and we can always add it to those departments if that's what you decide. Or if we put it under a 1690 department, I think we still have some time going, because I know Tara, I think, has some questions about Eagle View for later.
I agree. I think we can hash that out through the budgeting process and then have kind of state those thoughts and then get that on the table. So I think we can do that. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if anybody has any good commissioner friends from Converse County.
Huh. Just because someone stayed at my house over the weekend, right?
No, I suggest you talk to them because they use Eagle View. I think,
Yeah.
I can't speak out of turn, to say my next sentence, but you can read my mind. They have a co-op built in Converse County
Hmm.
that the cities pay in, the county, different functions of the county pay in.
They also have a joint powers on their 911 system.
So, Mr. Chairman, I think, very much appreciate that being brought forward because that's my goal in the GIS is to move it to a global county thing that's not just in one, that is more accountable to you maybe through what they're doing.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Any other discussion?
Yeah, I could see where that'd be important to our road department, getting this kind of information. And,
If they put the information on a layer, if they can support that, that's part of the problem.
But they will.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I have talked to them and they are ready.
okay,
So-
good.
Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
All right, got it. Okay. Fair. To be fair. Discuss the fair. Introduce yourselves for the general public.
Morning, Commissioners. Laura Harrington, Interim Manager at Fremont County Fair.
Trevor Beckham, Fremont County Fair Board Chairman.
So we just would like to give you all an update on things that are going on with there. So currently, we have all of our night events in place for the upcoming 2026 Fremont County Fair. Our theme is Stars, Stripes, and Fremont County Nights. Part of that, we're celebrating our nation's 250th anniversary, but we also want to honor our community's talents, qualities that make Fremont County special. We'll be featuring American-themed contests, special events, as well as highlighting the talents of community members in Fremont County. Our free stage will predominantly be local talents. And there will be demonstrations by some of the 4-H kids, some of our open class superintendents. Our night events will be a hog and mud event, which is always popular. 2 figure-8 races, one starting the first Saturday and one ending fair on the last Saturday. New this year, thanks to the assistance of Commissioner Thomas, we will be having a powwow. We will have a family night, which we have a sponsor that's sponsoring a family movie. A production company's coming in from Montana with a large screen, professional sound. We'll be featuring our bread-fed and owned beef show that night. We want to bring all the aspects of fair up front so that the community that's not necessarily livestock can have exposure to livestock and other activities. We're going to have games, prizes. It's a new twist on our old family day, only will be taking place during the activities of fair so people can see the exhibits and participate in livestock shows. We'll also have wiener dog races that night. We have not had that in a few years, so we're going to be bringing that back. We'll have the Wind River Rodeo Company producing a rodeo. We'll have a ranch rodeo. We'll have monster trucks and lawnmower races, and then again culminating with the figure eight races. This year fair is more than a week. We kind of have a fair season this year. We'll have spring fair in June. Then we'll have the carnival at spring fair, also a carnival early July. Our horse show precedes fair, and that'll be taking place at the annex. And then the Wind River Rodeo Roundup, which previously has been the rodeo during fair, has opted to go off of fair week to hit better timing with some of the cowboys, hoping to draw more cowboys into town. So we'll have a whole fair season this year, and we're really excited about that. We wanted to just give you a little update on some of the things going on at the annex. We have a new employee. He is currently working part-time. Right now, there's not really a need for a full-time person to be up there. He is currently employed elsewhere as well, but is on the edge of retirement. So if this were to need to proceed into a full-time position, he would probably be willing to expand his hours. Currently, we have 11 family memberships and 9 individual memberships. That's up slightly from last year. Very strong 4-H usage up at the annex right now. They've had all kinds of activities. They recently, this last weekend, had a gardening clinic. They've had small animal clinics, large animal clinics, horse shows, wool judging meets up there regularly. So they are really loving the availability of being able to do things in the off season that they couldn't have done without the indoor facility. We've also had events that are outside our 4-H and FFA. We had a pig sale recently. We have the Wind River Archers that use the facility on a regular basis. LeClaire Irrigation has moved their monthly meetings from the main fairgrounds facility up to the annex. So there is usage going on up there. We're excited to just see what can go on. A couple of our fair board members applied for, they put a lot of the work in to apply for the Wind River Outdoor Tourism, can't remember the full name of it, I'm sorry, Outdoor Recreation and Tourism Trust Fund Grant. And I apologize, in the past, we didn't have to come to the commission to apply for grants I apologize that we did not inform you we were doing that.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm reviewing all of
So-
those because I'm on that board.
Oh, nice, nice.
I'm on number 20 out of 87. And,
So-
but yeah, I hadn't seen that one yet.
Yeah,
So
so in the
Thank you.
future, in the future, we'll inform
That's okay.
you when we apply for a grant.
Yeah.
But we will be reaching out, trying to get funding.
what's the grant for?
It is for the annex.
Oh, okay.
They are, they requested funding for a chute, like a cattle loading chute for in and out of the arena. They've requested funding for some bleachers. There's this outdoor arena up there. They want some bleachers for that. And by they, I mean us. They just did all the footwork. Those girls worked hard. Sound system, some livestock pens. It was expressed that we'd like to allow 4-H kids that don't necessarily have a place to keep their animals to possibly be able to raise animals up there. There's a lot of logistics that need to go into place for something like that to happen, but they've requested funding to help get stalls and pens and shavings for the grounds. So they've been actively seeking other avenues of funding because there is not the revenue, to be able to cover that ourselves currently. Down at the fairgrounds, our buildings are heavily used every day of the week. We call this time of year our banquet season. We had several banquets that take place down there. The next couple months, we go into weddings and those types of events. The Riverton High School will actually be hosting their prom at the Heritage Hall this weekend, so we're excited for that to be taking place down there. 4-H usage remains heavy at the fairgrounds as well with meetings, activities. They've done a sewing clinic. They're busy. Our 4-H extension agent is very active in getting the kids involved in getting projects prepped and things ready to go so that we have entries for fair. We have livestock practices that'll be coming up weekly. They'll start in May. Royalty will start practice riding for fair events in May as well. So we're excited about all the activities that are going on. Your first page that I gave you in that little packet is a picture of our sign leading into the fairgrounds. It was damaged by the windstorms in late March. Half of it was ripped off. So,
Did you have a picture of that?
yes, it's the top page.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So you can see where that was ripped off. It looks like there was actually another layer underneath it. It was recommended that we could possibly seek LATC funding to help replace that sign. Rick received a bid, he's our groundskeeper, to just kind of repair what's there. It's approximately $5,000 for that. We have started looking into, not too deeply, so I can't really give you any numbers yet, on getting an electronic sign. That's been on the table for a lot of years to replace. So there below the white metal part, you'll see that black strip. That used to be one of those scrolling LED. Well, I don't think it was even LED. It was that old, but signs, and then the livestock auction below it. What we've looked at, and like I said, we've just barely started that process, is an LED sign that could have Fremont County Fair across the top. It would be encased about that height with the LED screen inside, where we could not only advertise our own events, people could advertise their events, the livestock auction could.
can I
Go
ask you a
ahead.
question?
Absolutely.
So I think with ARPA money, we put a sign in the parking lot over by didn't we do that? We got like a $60,000 or $70,000 grant and put it up where the coroner is currently and 4-H is over there. Didn't we do that?
Yeah, there is there is a small
And
sign.
don't we have access to, because that can be ever changing electronic. I mean, don't you have access to that? Or it was kind of the 4-H group that was running that, right? You don't know?
I don't believe that Tanya is doing that. I can reach out to her and find out, but I don't believe she's.
I think you guys should have access.
Mr. Chairman, I think that was a grant. I'm not seeing it.
It was a grant.
It was an outside grant because
Grant or something for it.
because the city of Lander, no, yeah, I think the city of Lander used it or Riverton had one too. And I remember it coming through. We have that new electronic sign over there, right?
Right, JR got a grant for that.
Yes, there was a grant. I believe there was a grant for
Right.
that. Listed.
It's in the parking lot across the street from your park. And in the 4-H parking lot. You guys,
It's just right there.
nobody sees it?
It's a smaller one right on the edge.
Mr. Chairman, I wouldn't categorize it as the 4-H parking lot, because when I think about the fairgrounds, I think over where theirs is, so
Mhm.
I'm just saying I think they are two different things, but
Well, all I'm saying is, I think you have access to
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
So I don't know who's controlling it.
the public health,
Public health.
yes, public health.
Is it only them? Cause I thought we had some
That's who-
conversation.
That's who we always used when we did election stuff, was we had to get with them.
Okay,
Yes.
so why don't you talk to those guys and just see, you can be putting stuff up there now, I would think, I mean,
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you, I have driven by there 50 times and I don't even see the damn thing, so.
Chairman, that sign is, I mean,
You can't see it.
wouldn't even be connected to the issue with the fair. I mean, it's pretty far away.
It's across the street.
I mean, it's not.
It's 100 feet.
It's not noticeable for the fair. I mean, it's just.
I'm not saying in substitute of what you're talking about, but I'm saying you do have some access to it.
Right.
Okay.
But Chairman,
Fair enough.
I mean, in that, Julie, are there any suppose maybe in the future, additional ARPA or LAT funds that could be used to fix this sign?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, yeah. I think we need to revisit LATC because we still have some allocation, some of the existing projects. And it feels like we're coming piecemeal and we haven't really opened it up for everybody. So if we're gonna go back and open that up and say, I think we need to kind of update our information as to what is allocated and what we've kind of reserved, those kinds of things, Julie.
Mr. Chairman, I could get you that. I looked through that this morning. I did talk to Laura earlier, so I was up more prepared for this. But we do have money in LATC, but we hadn't been taking applications. That's so people that have needed something have just come to you and you've either approved or not approved it.
Right.
The other option for them is you have your capital revolving, they would have to pay that
Right.
back in rental payments, but there are some options
Right.
for you so that they could get ready for the fair.
So, yeah, so I think the answer is, let us figure out if we want to say as a part of the budget and capital revolving, say, hey, this is the time you bring your projects here. And if you could bring it to capital revolving, which we're gonna.
And Mr. Chairman, just to clarify, yes, we're going to be doing that before the budget season.
Yep.
However, if they need it right away because they do have fair coming up,
Yep.
you could always you have the ability to do it with your current capital revolving if you want to, as is the LATC. It sounds like maybe what you would want to hear from them, they've given you one thing to fix something, and then it sounds like maybe you have kind of an idea on a new sign, and I think those would be very helpful for you to decide for them.
I think if you specify, say, hey, we want this, we want X, we want Y, and get that in front of them, we can vote on it. Cause I think it's still kind of up in the air as to what those two things are.
And then, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
also there's grants available for that. Larry was gonna get a grant for several things like that. So there is stuff out there.
Chairman. This
yes,
represents,
yes.
this represents Fremont County.
Yeah,
And the grants are gonna take forever, and the fair's coming up. What they're asking for is for this to be fixed because it represents Fremont County. In a sense, if you drive up there and you see this represents Fremont County. We represent Fremont County. So I would ask that we get this fixed.
Oh.
In that, we gotta do what we can to get it fixed.
And
My
fair enough,
goodness.
but we need a
Not that
number.
hard.
We need,
Clarence,
Yeah.
we need a number.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's kind of, it's like, I've seen people coming here
Fair enough.
and they
Thank
get things right away, and it's like, wait, what's the difference?
Fair enough. Trevor.
Okay, so for now, what we would request, Rick has gotten a quote to fix this. So there's some sheeting behind that sign, and it's gonna be approximately between $4,000 and $5,000 to fix what you see on that sign as it is. I think that is sufficient at this time so that it looks good when they come in or they're going by, that it doesn't look that way. Down the road, we will put together a proposal because we haven't decided anything on the electronic thing. We just want to make that look better.
So my question is there room in your budget? It's always gonna be a pushback of, do we have to use those LATC funds, or is there room in your budget currently?
right now.
To get that done this year? And then we could look forward, because 5,000 really isn't that much.
No,
And why use those funds, which it's an appropriate use, however, my pushback is, oh, can't we just fit it into your budget this year?
Short answer to that is yes.
Okay.
We can probably make that happen. I didn't know how those LATC funds worked. And we're just trying to be as frugal as possible with all of our budget stuff as is everybody. So if we don't ask, you don't receive. So
I would say also that if you have a future, and 5,000 is under our capital revolving, we usually 10,000 or up goes to the capital revolving. Then that would be part of your budget conversation with us, is we like that to put a request in. But I think we have to make it equitable for everybody else and say, we have LATC requests again. I don't know if we want to go through a formal process, but we really need an update on where we are with all the LATC funds before we do that.
And Mr. Chairman, you have plenty of money in LATC.
I understand.
So that's not the issue. I think whether or not you want people to come in each and do that, this is one thing, but like when there's something like this, that is something's coming up for them, I think that's legitimate that they could come and ask you for that as well. On the fixing of the sign, is that money well spent no matter what you do to a new one? I guess that I would hate to see you have to fix it and then go, well, the better sign is this. So
can
I-
we use it, recycle it?
So I can't, what's that?
Can we recycle it?
I don't know if we
Take
can
those poles
necessarily,
down, put someplace else on the fairground?
possibly, but I think, and I can't speak for the board, But in our discussion, we just wanted to make sure that that looked better.
Sure.
And in the short term, not knowing, you know, what funds would be available, the short fix, and I think it would be clean and it could still stay there, is still have that original Fremont County Fairgrounds. And down the road, depending on what happens, we can look at talking to Jeff Brown of the livestock auction, and maybe he'd cost share, do something with us in getting electronic sign, because also, you know, to your point about a grant, that could be possible even with the city of Riverton in conjunction with the county, because my opinion, again, I'm not speaking for the board or Laura, there's a lot of different uses you could utilize that electronic sign for, not just for fair or Riverton livestock, but some of these other youth organizations or other things that are happening throughout the town or county can be displayed on that. And there can be an upcharge to that to help offset some of the signage
Good idea.
costs.
So what I would recommend is, again, get your numbers all tied down. You have to have a board vote. It doesn't sound like you had one, or did you? Okay, so you have to have that. When's your budget, when are you here for budget hearing?
They're late in June, I want to say late in June, they're one of the last ones in June, so.
And if, you know, I don't know when your next meeting is, which is what,
May 9th.
May 9th? If, you know, if your board wants to make a request after May 9th, I would say come back at May 9th. If it's gotta be more, I mean, if you put something new on the end of that sign, it might look kind of cheesy. I mean, I would want you to make sure it's nice.
Yeah,
Right.
and what that would be is replacing that whole.
Okay,
top
just that whole
portion.
top, yeah, okay. So that work for you guys? Come back after your next meeting? Okay, great.
So next, there's some miscellaneous items located up at the annex that we would like to sell on public auction. I attached some photographs. There's a few things that we don't know what they are. There's some hay racks, the first photos on the first page. 2 skid lean-tos, which we've had several people express interest in purchasing. 3 double bucking chutes, some gates. And then on that back page, there's 3 items that I've asked around. Nobody seems to know what they are. Trevor, did you have any luck? We were both trying to figure out what they are. We don't know what they are. But they're items that even if we just sold them for scrap, we would like to sell.
Are they listed as assets?
I don't know that there's an asset sheet for the annex.
The annex itself is an asset. I don't know how finally we got into splitting it off.
Probably not.
It's probably just land and
So
building.
this is all annexed stuff.
This is all annex, yes.
We are been reading our procurement policies and
Yes.
but I don't, my view is they're not assets. I'd say let it go. I mean, go get her done. I mean, if you want to entertain a motion, they're not asset, they're not listed specifically, so.
Mr. Chairman.
Somebody wants to make a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's fair for them, and they've mentioned that as well. Some kind of a public auction is great if they
Yeah.
have somebody to do that, or even
Yeah.
bids sent in, like sealed bids
Sure.
sent into them. I think
Sure.
that's fair enough for county property.
Yeah.
Should be done that way.
Chairman?
Yes.
Motion for the fair board to go with the item and have an option or other means.
Okay, second? Anybody have a second? I know this is unusual, but I'll second it. It's within Roberts.
Do you have a question?
Yeah,
Yes, a discussion.
some of these gates, Mr. Chairman,
Thanks.
some of these gates and stuff, I think could possibly, I'm hesitant to sell some of this stuff. It's expensive. So, some of this other stuff I don't care less. It's kind of junk. But those gates and stuff, cause I know what all that costs. And I'm hesitant to sell those. Just
Commissioner,
because we can use those later with the additional rodeo grounds or something, we may be able to move those around and utilize that.
I'm the chair.
May I speak?
Yes, through the chair.
Okay. Um,
I'm sorry.
I don't disagree with you, like those gates, they're expensive.
Oh,
If you're gonna
yeah.
go to replace them. The only other fear I have is those have been sitting up there since we've gotten the annex. Maybe we could put them somewhere else, but I would fear that some of this stuff could walk off. And I don't know where we would use those gates at the annex. You know, I've walked around thinking that same thought, you know, let's not get rid of something, we're gonna
Yeah,
have to
just-
repurchase it. But we've thought about that, I just don't know.
Concerned about theft.
On small items like that, yes, I would be.
Is there any barns we can lock up? Cause we
Yeah,
lock
we can do
stuff
that.
down in before.
We can do that,
I mean, I know we move stuff in fairgrounds all over the place.
yes.
Any
So
other discussion?
that's my concern is not to,
I'll-
yeah, right away until you got a good handle on future focus.
Any other concerns? In the discussion? Any other concerns?
That, no,
Mr. Chair,
that's what I'm talking about.
they were talking about using those for clinics, for these youth clinics, for rodeo at one time. I don't know what they cost. There was a pretty good sum of money for
Training,
when that's why the college left them, and we kind of have an
Mhm.
idea what.
yeah, they
What
left
those
us that
would be
stuff for free.
Sure. Any other discussion? Motion's on the floor. I'm gonna call for the question. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
I,
So that has failed. Since we don't have a majority.
So,
So we're gonna, come back with a plan, what you wanna do, but I think you'd probably, I don't know what your concerns are because you don't have any. You don't have any use for them now, so if we have something in mind going forward, I'd like to hear more about that when they come back.
well, I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, so. I think the other stuff
Who's
is
got a baby?
fine to get rid of. I don't have an issue with that. I'm just real concerned about these. I think we can lock these down until. Later, 'cause I just.
Alright. We're we're using too much time, so what else?
So one final item. The Fair Board would like permission to sell the state vet house that was donated to us when the vet's office moved their office.
So I'm gonna ask that you come back when Larry's here.
Alright.
So we need all of us, and Larry's had some thoughts about that in the past, so I'm just gonna ask that we wait until we're back
We
together.
can do that.
Cause I don't know all his concerns about that, but he had some, so.
Okay.
Okay, is that it?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
They don't like hammer the roof. What's the difference?
The grandstand?
So the front two pages there are the grandstands. What our proposal would be is that if we could sell that office, which we pay utility bills on monthly and it's been sitting vacant for 3 years. We would like to sell that and then ask permission for the funds that went from that sale to repair that grandstand roof, which leaks like a sieve. It needs repairs, if not replacement.
Do you have a
So
bid on
we would like the funding to go towards that. The bid we have is expired. When after fair, we sought one, replacement would be upwards of $100,000.
So I guess that's included in the conversation when you come back when Larry's here.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Thank you for your time.
thank you. Give me that. All right, where are we? We are gonna go into our work session. I need to ask Julie about work sessions for a second.
Okay. Do we need to Larry be here for some of this stuff?
Well, I think we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Whether we want to push that out.
I would think so, Chairman.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. I think it's a fair question.
Yeah, cause this
It's
is
not a
like.
fair question, but it's-
Right.
Okay. Julie. It's interesting that the question came up when we did a work session last week about the 3/4 cent tax. the cities, every time they move into a work session, and I don't know if it's statutorily requirement, but they don't make any motions during that. And so the question came up to me, well, you guys made a decision. Well, we really didn't because no motion was made. And I said, and I don't know what rules are on it because we don't do work sessions all that often. So within a work session, at least the cities always they have the work session, they move out of the work session and then they make votes either then or in a regular session. So they're back in session. I never looked at that for counties because we don't do it. We just don't do that many work
So,
sessions.
Mr. Chairman, anything that we've ever received for tax questions, we usually get their resolutions that they adopted. So usually you aren't the first one to make the deciding factor where you were this time. So usually they all bring their resolutions and go, we have enough. Please put this on the ballot. So it kind of went backwards this time.
Yeah.
So I should reach out to them and ask for all of their resolutions that pretty much match whatever you guys said. That's my thought.
Well, my question is more to how do work sessions work in terms of if you're in a work session, you're not in a regular meeting session. That's the way the cities handle it, and they don't take votes.
Okay.
They don't take any action during those, and I don't know if that requirement is on us.
Oh,
Because
on us, because we're going into a work session?
Yes.
I made it a work session specifically for the personnel policy
Yep.
stuff. The elected official stuff is a discussion. I need these adopted too. So I think you could do a work session, but you're still in a regular session. We don't have work sessions and then sessions. We do it all right here. So you could finish your work session and you could make motions. There's no problem with that.
So while you were chatting there, the commissioners are concerned on at least on the salary discussion, but I would probably say policy too. There was a lot of stuff in there. Probably they're concerned that we wait for Larry. And I was thinking we'd go ahead and have the conversation, but there's some caution here from commissioners of having that without Larry.
So
Can we put that off a week?
So Mr. Chairman, I received no comments let me start with the personnel stuff. I received no comments from anybody, and I sent this out to the boards, to the department heads, and
Which
then
one,
you
on the
guys.
policies?
Yeah,
Are you talking about both of the policies?
all the policies.
Just the
I
policies.
received nothing back from you or questions,
I
so
have comments.
if we have comments or questions that I can go back and fix this up to look kind of like what you want it to look like, that would be nice. Even then we could adopt it another time. Same with the elected officials. Well, a lot of us have been here so we could answer questions. We didn't know. We sent you a lot of information. So if you'd like to ask questions, we are certainly here to answer them.
I have some notes, but I can hand you those individually if you want. I just had some questions that raised in my mind. About some of the policy stuff. I don't know if anybody else has notes or thoughts about the policies.
I just had a couple.
Okay, do you want, let's go ahead, I think we can go ahead and do that.
So first of all, because there are elected officials here that probably have places they need to be, is there anything on the elected official salary setting?
I think that's what we want to wait for Larry for.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing at all on that? No questions from anybody?
The only one is we didn't have gyms.
I did, that was a volunteer thing to do a job description, and I know the sheriff hadn't done one and the treasurer, so that's up to them.
Okay.
Get those to you. But if there's any questions, like I said, we gave you a lot of information and I kept sending you information because it was interesting. There's the letter from about the circuit court salaries, and I did get something here that might be helpful. I have not sent out to you on the reimbursement from the county attorneys, from the state.
Right.
Currently the elected official salary, they reimburse 50,000 and the deputies at 30.
On that.
And the budget update, depending on what level you go to, the elected official reimbursement, well, this is revenue to their budgets, would be 72,124, and deputies up to 42,942. Now there's a dollar amount that gets divided up among, across the state, but
Right.
this was just from one county clerk that did the calculation. So I just
Yeah.
wanted you to know that revenue does accompany some of that. I also gave you another area for revenue to not be coming out of the specific general fund, but rather from our SOC account, which is where you've made the commitment for all elected, not all elected, all employees, which includes your elected officials, I feel, to have access to that 100,000. And I think that is one way that you could definitely make increases to elected officials' wages without cutting other budgets or worrying about that. So that was one question I thought you might have.
Oh, utilizing the SOC, the budget amount is $300,000.
Use it all
Um,
in a year.
so
Here we-
question back to you on that. So, you know, I look at the comparisons that you gave us across the state. In our SOC policy page that you gave us, if we're gonna make a change, then what we would do is we would look at the analysis of SOCs, and my question in there was regionally or statewide. Now, with elected officials, and I think it's appropriate to say statewide, but with things like maintenance people, I think it's more regional, especially with the size of our county or who we are, that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that policy isn't clear there, how we're gonna do that. So if we're gonna look at SOCs as a potential portion of that, I think we can. But I think in general, that's not gonna be enough to look at that and the rest of the employees. The SOCs have not necessarily been for, well, they're not for elected officials. So I'd kind of say, yeah, I would like to deal with those separately, but that's me. Anybody else have any other thought?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, the reason I brought up the SOC money is we put it aside to make sure that we were paying our employees a good wage, and we were committed to that. I don't see the difference in our employees as to our elected officials, except the only difference is you have to set them for 4 years. And frankly, we're very far behind. When you look at the caseloads of our attorney, our sheriff, our courts, you look at all of the different things that we have to do, and then the rest of.
You wanna come up here and use a good mic?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just don't set it on, don't sit on top of his cord because then he gets fuzzy.
Sorry, are you good? Okay. So what I was saying about the SLC money is that was our commitment as a county. That was our commitment to putting money aside for our employees. Well, we are your employees too. I don't want to talk about us specifically because when you set elected officials, that's the seat that we're talking about, not necessarily us as people. But we can tell you what we've been doing in those seats so that other people know what those are. So that's why I felt like we put money aside for that. We committed to that. So I think if you move up the elected officials, just put more money. If you need more money, I don't think you do right at this point, depending on what you offer to make those positions. But I think that's a good place to do it. Then the public knows that's a commitment to all of your employees.
So commissioners, it's on the table. Should we use SOC funds in relationship to the 4-year conversation we have around elected official salary? Should we look at those or do we do it separate? Commissioner, what's your thought? Mr. Thomas?
Well, we should have it involved in a sense. I don't think it should be separate.
Not separate. Commissioner Wilson, sorry.
Oh. Didn't we do it separate last time?
Mr. Chair, yes, but I know there's always some worry about what the operatives, how it looks to the public as how you're spending the money.
Okay.
And so I just said there was a very big commitment from this board to say all of our employees deserve to have good wages. we are employees, or these positions become your employees. And I just offered that as a way to say to the public, we already put money aside. It doesn't have to be that way. I just help throw that out there. No, it usually comes from a separate level, but we got $1,000 or $4,000 raised last year.
I will point out that SOC, the budget that we have for SOCs is in this year's budget. The conversation we're gonna have around next year about salaries for the next 4 years for elected officials is in next year's budget, and we would have to budget a whole amount for that and whatever increases might come up from our other employees. So just want to point a little.
I was just giving the optics for the public out there, what you
That's what
what
I'm
you could be saying, but you don't have to do that. I was just trying to give an idea of,
Okay.
we're committed to
Well, I was
employees.
just writing that in my head,
Okay.
trying to visualize what you're saying. So I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea, because when people see how we've laid it out, we are what, it's all employees. So I think that's a good idea.
Okay, Commissioner Fabricius.
SOC.
Just put it in, okay.
And that's
Fair enough, let me make my point.
I'm just trying to help.
I understand. As far as optics, I would worry that the county and the public does not understand SOC. They do not understand that conversation, and I would hate for that to go the wrong way, that we're trying to slip a fast one. I still think we need to have a thorough discussion about what those salaries are. What bucket it comes out of is probably not, but I wouldn't want people to perceive that we're trying to tuck it in a bucket so it's not visible. It would still be visible within their salaries. So whether we pull it out of an act, I don't know, the accounting on that, you're still gonna hit your budgets. So I worry that the SOC topic clouds it, but I think we can answer that going forward when we finalize the budget. But as to the actual conversation about those salaries, I think we want to wait. What I heard from the commissioners is that we want to wait until Larry's back.
Right.
And have that conversation then.
Sure,
So-
absolutely.
I think there was.
Like I said, if you had any questions, that we could get to you.
You can see anybody's salary, really, from what's on the online. You can look it up, you can see it. So,
Yep.
that's why I think it's fine doing it, so to speak.
Okay. As to some of the policy stuff, I just had some questions that I wrote down there, and I can sit down and walk you through.
It's not just me. I want to say I'm
Yeah.
sitting here answering because I threw things together, but that we had a whole team.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are here today. And so if we have any questions, I want to make sure we answer them for you.
Okay.
So just certainly,
So we finalized the budget message?
yes, that already went out.
That already went out,
Yeah,
okay.
and hopefully gravity is ready to roll by time this afternoon. There's been some hiccups with that, but
Quickly, if you want, I just wrote a few notes when I was reviewing this. So on, no page numbers, that's great. Under
which one are you looking at?
3.K emergency procurement. So in yellow, yeah, the emergency purchases procurement shall require department head or elected official to make immediate contact via phone. I don't think that's legal. Our policy, when we changed meeting notices, that if we needed an emergency docket, we would call an emergency meeting. And I think that is our policy. We put it in policy a little while back. So instead of phone calling, that's not transparent to the public. I think it has to be in a special meeting. So I think we have to change that. Down. So you raised the question in the next one down, 3.L. You raised the question of which statute. Is Nathan looking at that? That question, so per one of the statutes, certain professional services, including
I probably
architectural.
forgot. The procurement you have, oh, it was probably done by our finance committee. I'll look it up. It's probably a
Okay, so
note.
if we just, double check that, find out if we're gonna quote a statute, let's quote a
Yeah,
statute.
exactly.
The next paragraph down, estimated value of services, selection process. I guess my question was, the selection process for larger professional services projects shall be more formal, with the selection committee consisting at least 5 individuals from the capital revolving committee.
So,
Why
Mr.
them
Chairman-
versus the commission?
So, Mr. Chairman, first of all, this came from Park County because our auditors
Oh.
liked it.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I knew it was fair game. They had like a whole nother committee to
Yeah.
do the 50,000 and above for like large projects. So
Yeah.
it can be whatever you want it to be. I just
think
threw
it-
it into the capital
I
revolving.
think it
if
should
that
be
makes sense.
commission.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a budgeted amount.
Okay.
On 4, on contracts, I think your question of should this be 10,000? Yes. Not 5. Probably the most of what I had. Other than that, I mean, it's great to have a document like this that. Yeah, that's all I had. Those were just questions. I
I'll work
think.
on that and get that
Um,
revised.
let's see here. Handbook.
So a couple things with the handbook, maybe that, well, there's several things. So a couple of things that have come up throughout the year is that some places have what's called, well, some boards have what's called board leave. And I don't think it's used correctly. So review that. And if you have any questions on that, let me know. We had some places using administrative leave that have not been in our policy, so I added that.
Some places are talking about offline boards.
Yep.
So,
Well, and the sheriff does as well, and it makes sense, and I guess public health would be another place, and sometimes maybe even the coroner. That's generally where it's used, is where something needs to be investigated, officer involved shooting.
right,
Something that happened that they need to be out while they investigate it. I think the big thing I did review this morning that I had questions on for the administrative leave was that I did do a training on that recently, and the person is to be notified, and I know in a couple of cases they were notified they were on administrative leave, but they were never talked to again, ever. And so those things are important. And the federal government, private sector says you can be off as long as you want. Federal government says 10 days. And then you gotta be either wrapping it up or talking to them about what's next. So I think those are the only things I added, is that we might need to say how long we go, and that those people do get to know in writing why they're off, even if it says internal investigation or whatever. So
do you have actual language? to
I
put
do.
there?
I have some new stuff that I printed off, but
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
give that to you
Yeah,
as well.
Thanks for that.
Work from home was another one that happened after COVID that has
Right.
been plaguing a few of our departments, and so I really like you to look at those and see how you feel about that. We did increase the amount of time for after death instead of 3 days. We sometimes have people wanting to take sick leave because it's not long enough, so we went to 5 days.
So question for you. You
Yeah.
said you had some additions,
Yeah,
additional
that's okay for
language.
you.
Is this do you have this in a whole updated
Yes, I have.
recommendation?
Yes,
Okay,
I'll
so
send
we'll
you
get the
an
whole
updated,
policy, not
yep.
that. do that.
And
I
if there
did
was
have,
any questions or
I
additions.
do have one question.
Okay.
So back on salaries, 1K. All salaries will be determined by experience, qualification, job requirements, standard occupational classifications and levels in those ranges are required for the conversation. Back to our SOC conversation. Is there SOCs for elected officials? Or do we just have salaries?
Not really, you wouldn't be
Okay.
able to afford us if I gave you the one that's out for the private sector. You probably wouldn't pay us that, I will tell you that. What I think is fair is what the statute allows and what other counties are paying. And like I said, I keep sending stuff to you to compare us
So-
with in our caseload,
As relates to this policy, then, we should probably have language and elected officials
our standard.
will be evaluated based on the statewide statewide salaries of every other county and comparable counties. So I think we should add that language in here, so that when a new commission is here,
Correct.
4 years from now, we can wave that policy back in front of them and say, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that was,
And I did, and Steve Bellman would give me some suggested hit language that I forgot to put in, and it's a lot more clear on there about, it's a little bit longer. I'll get that to you before you leave, because I have that also here, so then I'll update the whole policy.
okay, that's all I had on that one. And if you get a septic policy, we'll look at that too. And commissioners, I encourage you to please look at that stuff. It's very tedious and I know your eyeballs will glaze over. But
And this
it's good. It's important stuff that we're supposed to do. We have to do.
And we haven't done this for like 9 years, and so after this, it will be, just, so you know, Emma is building an entire book that will have all of these things in it. They will just be separated out. She's already given me a sneak preview. It's beautiful. And so all of these things will be in there, and then we'll start bringing you things like weekly that says, here's the vehicle policy, and make sure there's no changes. Get those all in there, and then annually, we will make a review of that.
Yeah.
And it will be done annually,
So I would suggest, just because I sit on a credit union where we have gazillions of policies, is that we develop a schedule. So that way, throughout the year we're not doing a big lump.
Big lump, yeah.
Because everybody's gonna go crazy looking at a big lump. And so
Right,
if we schedule that out through the year, this will be coming up and the change will happen at our next.
absolutely,
road. So I would suggest we do that.
absolutely.
Um,
And we do have to get, once these are adopted, every single employee will get a sign-off sheet
Yeah.
that goes back into their personnel file.
so, I'm moved on to the Fremont County
The
Benefits
handbook,
Handbook.
okay, mhm.
Okay, 1G. I'm thinking we're still struggling with complying with our current policy. With getting the overtime versus comp time especially with the roads department, with transportation. Okay, is that,
What are we struggling with?
well, are we doing it?
Yeah.
And so, so they're following. And,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I know in the past that's been an issue. That's not an issue
I,
anymore.
I think, I think our departments are really doing well,
Okay.
being savvy about how to do this. So sometimes
Okay.
I know that the road department has talked to me about flexing out people.
Yeah.
So if they know there's a big snowstorm this weekend, God, we wish,
Okay.
but they might have them be off on Monday, because we have to do it within Sunday through Saturday.
As long as we're
So
staying with
there's
the-
that, and then they know they can do the comp time.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, it has to all be paid out. That's the biggest hurdle, so,
Okay, okay. Down below that,
Mr. Chairman.
yeah. No, Commissioner, sorry.
On these policies, and I think I've spoken with Julie on this before. If we have these policies and based upon the issue of overtime, the issue of vacation, getting sick leave, issue of being here, or not being here. If we put these policies in place, then we have to have a secure way of knowing if they're here or not. Meaning, how do we really determine the issue? Because if they're on salary, then we understand that they're on salary. But if they're not on salary, then how do we propose a way that we really watch the issue of the issue of knowing, because sometimes we sign off on those who are not salaried. And we don't know if they were there or not. Meaning we've had some complaints about the issue of people not being at their workstation but yet filing or saying, well, they went on sick leave, but then not using sick leave. And then we're signing it real quick. We're signing those things. What I'm saying is there a way if we're gonna move it, and I think Julie and I talked numerous months ago about that, we can put policy in place. And how do we make sure that
Force it.
Compliance.
very good compliance?
Mr. Chairman, we are different than most places. All of our employees, unless you're part-time or salaried here. So all of them are basically, even when we had a time card system that wasn't the greatest, you were putting only the time off that you had. So, and anybody can mess with that. So good department heads, good supervisors, their requirement to adherence of that is important. And then department heads have asked me, how do I make sure that I could go, here or there or whatever, and I've asked them a zillion times, whoever their liaison is, they're supposed to email you or call you and say, I'm going on vacation, or hey, I've got a doctor appointment, whatever, however far down the
Quick
road you
question,
want. So,
quick question. When you say, we said most of our people are salary, are you saying most of our people are exempt?
no,
Okay,
they're just salary.
okay, because salary is different than exempt.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm working on the exempt, and that hasn't been very easy either. I have
Okay.
not had compliance
Okay,
getting that done, so
and so how can we help?
talk with your department heads
Okay.
about, watching your employees, getting, and one of them has asked me several times for the exempt, and I'm making the check boxes for them because it didn't come off that way, so I still have to get that to them, but I have sent exempt forms a lot and nobody does them, so it's me that needs to follow up and go, give it to me, but we'll see.
Well, and if you want to report on that, we can
Okay.
enforce it from this table as well.
Okay,
I
let me get
think,
that finished.
do we have, I'm thinking about our time cards. I think our time cards specify, time off and those kinds of things, right? And
So each department kind of has their own time card system.
Who does?
I do, every department has, well, a lot of them have what we give them, but they can have their own time card system. So that's one of the problems, if we could do everybody the same. I do have another company, and I don't really necessarily want to go out and do this, but they do have another company that looks better at doing it all one kind. And that's up to you guys if you want me to get you that demo.
Commissioner,
We do have a card that we use to get indoors. That same card could use to be used to punch in, punch out.
well, our truck drivers don't do that.
But what I'm really, what I'm
Majority
really
don't
pushing
really.
at is the complaint came from the fact that on Friday, people coming to do business, it's ghost town. It's still a ghost town.
I think would probably be a good topic for, department head and elected officials. However, I think you guys need to attend it. If we're gonna have that conversation, so we could say, let's make sure we all can be in attendance and have that conversation with department head and elected officials, because we need to kind of nail it down to your point, Commissioner.
We always need topics for that, so that would be great. If I've over to Emma and she wrote it down, so.
So I have another question, on that same page, overtime compensation. What? Oh, it's not going through the records. In one paper. Okay. It's about halfway through. All compensated time accumulated in one pay period must be used within the subsequent pay period unless good cause exists.
Like hunting.
And my question comes up is, what is good cause?
But you know, as a one.
So I don't know if we should, excuse me, guys,
I'm just saying that is.
what is good cause? I always get a little stuck on that, say, well, yeah, my good cause is, I got a big elk tag and this is the
Okay,
biggest
so-
season ever.
So during I'm gonna use my own example. During election season, not that I have a lot of people working overtime, except for what I know about. They may not, if the whole group of them over there got a lot of overtime for the primary election, they may not be able to use it all up because I don't have that many people to leave in September.
Can't do it.
But that's an excuse I would say, good cause is I'm gonna spread it out till December.
There you go.
So it's up to the elected official or department,
Yes.
right? Okay. And then, we kind of went into, thank you, all of you elected officials and department heads who sent us this information. It was really great reading. And,
The one,
well, all the letters on the employee, on the elected official salary. So
Oh,
thank you
okay.
for doing that. It was a lot of work and I
A lot of
appreciate that. But that conversation will have to be when Larry returns.
and I do want to remind everybody too, that the elected officials also worked hard on this because we're the hardest people to please. So we worked really hard on making some, things go here. So I appreciate them all spending
Yeah, and
a
thank-
lot of time on this, and
thank
Nathan
you.
too is
And
worked
that,
on.
I appreciate, and that's what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And Mr. Chairman, I really like this. I like the idea also of every year was 9 years is ridiculous. So every year and then spread it out, like Mike said, that makes it a little easier to digest.
Absolutely.
You know, I'm reading a bunch of stuff right here, right now, real quick. So,
So I'm just gonna take a quick poll. We have struggled with this. Julie, I'd like to see a budget item for an HR manager would help us corral this because your job is just too much.
it is too much.
And I would entertain, you have, put that in your budget. We can figure out where it goes later, but if you put that in your budget now, are you guys opposed to that
I'm not.
for an
opposed.
HR?
No, I think it's a.
I've been saying that since I came on.
So you're not opposed to it?
No.
Thanks. You're not opposed. You're not opposed.
And just.
Put the proposal in your
Just
budget.
FYI, I'm gonna have a proposition for an SLC change because she is my backup assistant HR because she has completed her whatever certification or whatever. So we are already, she is already doing most of this work.
Put it in the budget.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Well, I'm gonna get her something before that. 'Cause she's been working on some stuff for you guys. for a
SLC
long
adjustment.
time. Yep.
Okay.
Get available probably by May,
We,
so.
we know what the policy is.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Anything else for the good of the order, commissioners? Commissioner.
The issue of current policy and procedures manual in, page 15, sale disposal of Fremont County property. Now, we just went over that just now, and the issue of, and I think both Chairman and I were understanding the issue of this, but in that, we really need to understand, the issue of what is assets and what's not. Those items that were just brought up, we don't know if they're even assets, or they've been documented assets. In that, we just denied the issue of basically, I don't know, does there need to be a revision of that? Because in that we brought to this table, was simple following this, what I'm reading, it should have been easy to say, go ahead and do a sealed bid or do an auction. I don't know, I just don't understand if you look at it and read it through.
My guess is they're not clarified as assets on our books,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't apply to this policy.
So in that,
Come on, Jim.
then how do we, I mean, how do we get there?
Clarence, sorry,
Give the title, the
title.
item number.
Because in that, particular area was, I mean, how much more items are there that we don't know about?
Jim, would you like to comment?
Absolutely. Mr. Chairman, I have a few comments on this. First off, I would like to also formalize an asset policy while we're doing policies this year. We've had one in a draft mode since long before I got here. That has never been formally adopted. So doesn't address this question specifically, but that's part of what we're saying. So with the question that we have here, I don't know exactly how things were put onto the asset list. My guess, I mean, that's not, I don't do that. So my guess, however, is that we did not get down to that level of detail in adding the assets. We probably have the building and the land. The only thing that I do want to say with this is that we purchased the annex with federal funds. We used ARPA money to buy the annex. So technically, that building belongs to the federal government. And there are issues with disposing of assets that belong to the federal government that were purchased through grants. And so there's the immediate thing is a $10,000 threshold. If there's something that is disposed of that is more than $10,000, that additional money has to be paid back to the federal government. It's not money that we can keep. We can keep up to $10,000 of that. Or I believe there is essentially a statute of limitations on that if the asset is in service for a certain number of years. I don't know that number. I want to say maybe 15 years. Something that's more than 15 years old than it is. And those policies are in place, kind of specifically for buildings. they don't want you to use grant money to go out and buy a building and then flip it a year later and pocket the money, so. That's my only caution that I would say, if literally it is spare equipment, I don't know what the dollar amount is that would be associated with this. That's the only caution I would have.
Yeah, cause in here, it says, in regards to the fair board, library board, museum board, the following boards only if purchasing, selling, moving, or disposing of county-owned property. And you just said the buildings and the land, but you didn't say anything, county-owned property, or applying for or securing county-sponsored grant. So in that, does that need to be divided?
Possible.
Would that be the same, the state land, state stuff that, cause that was state variance building?
Because in that, Chairman, in that, if you have a library board who says we're gonna get rid of books, isn't that book county property? Aren't those books county property then?
Yes, it is, and they're treated as assets, and they're disposed of.
Then they can't do that then, because it's county property, unless they come here and say, we're going to do this, like the fair board. See, the fair board's only governing board that's ever come here to ask. No other governing board has ever come here to ask, like they did. So if the books are county property, based upon what I'm reading, based upon what you're saying, then the fair board, like the library board needs to come here and say, we are removing these, or we're taking this property out of this building. Or, I'm reading what I'm reading.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that's up to the commission. If they want a report from the library as far as books that they intend to take out of circulation, I don't.
I think,
They have a circulation policy
Yeah.
over there. They could bring that policy here. And we look at it, but I feel like we're kind of getting down. And Commissioner, you're concerned in the past of micromanagement here, that we're getting down into policy questions that should be a board level decision. Now, the disposal of that building should come here. It's listed on our books, on our asset, and has, maybe some strings attached to it or whatever. That's appropriate to come here. To me, all that other stuff, I think that board should be able to handle that, especially has no value. Has no value at all. We designate that board to manage that system over there and let them manage it.
Chairman, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
seriously,
Thank you.
that's my
We
thing.
should not micromanage.
Well, I
Thank you.
just worry about it because, hey, I've got the same kind of tendency to want to micromanage everything in my site, but, and I just think we gotta be careful to avoid that we don't get pulled down into decisions that we've delegated really at a higher level. So just a concern. All right. Anything else, Jim? Anything else for the good of the order? We've been here long enough.
no,
Yeah, the scholarship, just wondering if you want me to put that on for May 5th or May 12th?
For me, 12. If 12 would be okay with you guys. May 12th.
was it? In here.
For the scholarships,
Oh, yes, that's good.
May 12th, May 12th. Okay, May 12th. All right, and recap.
I will get the scholarship decision on May 12th, and that's all I have.
Okay. You may want to move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, we are adjourned.